Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today let's reverse dye a tank top by removing part of the purple color and adding in some other color dyes. I'm starting with a purple Hanes tank top, and because this tank top has got seams on the side, I think the easiest design for this is going to be to just kind of scrunch the tank top up and add in some random sinew lines. Wherever I place these lines of sinew and I pull them really tightly, the sinew has a wax coating on it, so that's not going to allow any of the color remover or the dye underneath those lines. So underneath where I place these sinew lines, that part of the shirt is going to remain purple. Shirts that have got side seams can be a challenge sometimes. Sometimes the seams kind of warp or twist, or they're not perfect. So depending upon the design you're wanting to do, they can be a little bit of a challenge. For some unknown reason, they tend to put the side seams mainly in women's clothing, or at least women's t-shirts and tank tops. For the color removal process on this tank top, I'm going to use a product called Out White Brite Laundry Whitener. And I purchased mine from Walmart, normally on the laundry aisle, and it's usually beside the bleach products, even though it's not a bleach product. It doesn't damage the fabric like bleach, and it doesn't have to be neutralized. I'm doing a whole bunch of items all at the same time, so I've placed them all inside of a plastic tote, and this one is up kind of toward the top of the tote on the right hand side. I'm going to begin by sprinkling some of the Out White Brite over the top of all the items. And I'm doing this process outside because I don't want the smell of Out White Brite in my dye space. And I'm also wearing a respirator throughout the entire process because I don't want to inhale any of the Out White Brite fumes or the powder. Once I have the Out White Brite over the top of the items, I'm going to go ahead and pour 1 pot of my boiling hot water over the top. If you'll notice, the minute that hot water hits the Out White Brite starts to fizzle and foam and immediately remove the color from the items. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more of the powder, and then I'm going to add some more of the boiling hot water. I would really like to have all the items in this container submerged underneath the Out White Brite solution. I'm also going to use a pair of metal tongs to move the items around inside the Out White Brite solution to make sure they all get well saturated. Then, as I see the color being removed from the items and think that, pretty much most of the color has been removed, I'm going to go ahead and take the items out of the solution, take them to my utility sink, and I'm going to rinse them in cold water and then place them in my washing machine. Once I have all the items in my washer, I'm going to wash them all on a cold water cycle along with some Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent. When I take them out of the washing machine, I'm going to place them down inside of my soda ash solution. And by the way, I'm leaving the items tied the entire time. I'm not going to untie them until I'm finished dyeing them. When I soak my items that have either been previously dyed or that have been reverse dyed, I do not do the soaking process in my main soda ash container unless I'm almost out of soda ash and getting ready to change it, which is the case this time. And the reason for that is some of the Out White Brite smell and just some color can come out of these items, and I don't want that in my main soda ash solution. If you do have a new soda ash solution and you don't want to contaminate it, then I suggest taking a bucket and putting your items down in there and just pouring some of your soda ash solution over the top and then discarding whatever you have that you soak the items in. After I soak all of these items, I'm going to go ahead and place them aside and allow them to dry out. This one doesn't really need to be dried out, but I've got a whole bunch of items here and I'm working on a bunch of tie-dye, so this shirt did dry out before I applied the dye. For this tank top, I thought it would be fun to muck dye it. which basically means that I'm going to place my tank top down inside of a container, and then I'm going to allow it to process in the runoff from the melting ice that's mixed with the dye. That's what's referred to as muck. I'm also going to apply the dye over the top of the ice for this one, which can also be referred to as DOI if you ever see it abbreviated. So over the top of the ice, I'm going to place Deep Ocean from Dye Spin and Seashell Blue from Grateful Dyes. And I'm going to place both of these colors over the ice in stripes. Then over the top of the dye, I'm going to place an additional sprinkle of dry soda ash and place the shirt aside and allow it to process. The thing with muck dyes is after you place the dye on the shirt, I pretty much just leave it alone. I normally don't come back and add more ice, more dye, anything. I just leave it alone. I left this one for about 48 hours before I began rinsing it. And to rinse it, I just dumped the muck out of my container and I began rinsing the shirt in cold water to rinse out the soda ash. Because I used blues and they can be so difficult to get fully rinsed, I did rinse in hot water for a little while to try to rinse out the excess dye that didn't bond with the fabric. But instead of just continuing to rinse for a long time, I ran some really hot water in my utility sink, added some Blue Dawn dish soap to the water, and just allowed the shirt to soak. When the water cooled off, I would change it out. I continued that soaking process until my water was remaining almost clear. Then I placed the shirt inside of my washing machine and I washed it on a hot water cycle along with a little bit of Dharma's Professional Textile Detergent. Okay, so the tank top has been washed, dried, and ironed, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so what do you guys think? Because I think this one looks pretty cool. I like the purple lines paired with like the darker blues, the blue-green. I think it's a very interesting t-shirt or tank top to look at. I don't know if you guys happened to catch it in the video, but when I did the reverse dye process and used the Out White Brite, the shirt turned an orange color. You can see it. I placed a photo in like right after I took them out of the washing machine before I put them in the soda ash solution. But then if you'll notice the photo where I put the shirt down inside of the container, the shirt is kind of a grayish color, kind of a grayish blue color. It's not orange anymore. It turned a different color in the soda ash. You know, it's really funny how some of these shirts turn really bizarre colors when you try to remove the color, and then just like this one, they can turn a totally different color when you actually put them in the soda ash solution. That's what makes experimenting with these different color shirts a lot of fun. You know, some of the blues are the ones that the color won't be removed from very well. You can see that in my container of Out White Brite. I have a shirt that's blue and it didn't really remove the color. It did make the shirt a little lighter in the end, but for the most part, color removers don't work well with blue shirts. I mean, bleach does, but regular color removers not so much. But for this one, I think it turned out really cool. Like I said, I like the different modeling of the colors and the combination of colors. And when you do a design like this on a shirt that has side seams that maybe twist a little bit, you don't notice that. It ends up looking really cool and it takes away from that. So overall, I really like the shirt. I think it turned out looking really cool. But what do you guys think? Please drop me a comment down below and let me know. And if you've enjoyed the video, I sure would appreciate it if you would like it and if you'd subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you'll hit the bell, you'll receive a notification whenever I upload a new video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.